Eddie Frierson is a former baseball player out of UCLA, currently employed as a Santa Monica baseball coach. By night, however, he is one of the greatest pitchers the game of baseball has ever known. Christy Mathewson of the New York Giants was the golden god of baseball's golden age. They called him Husk, or Big Six. 3 times he won 30 or more games, 9 times he won 20 or more. Matty pitched 3 shutouts in the 1905 World Series. In fact, he had 11 World Series appearances, and his ERA was something like 1.11. If Babe Ruth was loved, Matty was worshipped. He was more than a ball player. He was a model for American youth. It is one-man show called Mathewson. Eddie Frierson is Christy Mathewson. And now, through the magic of stage, here is Christy Mathewson. Welcome, Christy. It's a pleasure to have you on Sports Live.
Good to be here, Roy. Thank you.
You did not do a lot of post-game interviews. You didn't like to do them. Not with Ring Lardner, not with Grantland Rice. Why?
Well, my friends Grant and Ring and Sammy Crane and several others, they know what a private individual I am. And it's my feeling that when the ball game is over and I'm done dressing and I'm ready to go home to my wife and my son, that time is my own. So they know that if they still have some questions that they want to ask me, that I will, not to be, you know, bad about it or anything, but I will charge a small sum for their time, let's say $5 for 5 minutes, which is not cheap.
That's a lot of money, $5, particularly by 1905 standards.
Right, but as Grantland looks at it, it's just another hole of golf, so I usually will stay with 5 minutes for Grant.
Ring Lardner called you the best pitcher who ever lived. Do you think you are?
It's difficult for me to assess my own talent. There are several ball players that I've played with who I consider on a level equal to or greater than my own. Mordecai Brown has beaten me time and time again, as you well know. It really is difficult for me to assess my talent. I know that I can throw a strike when I wish to throw it. I know what the different batters say about me, but if you talk to Hannes Wagner, I've got nothing on him.
But you went 68 straight innings without a walk. That seems quite remarkable, Christy.
Well, the way I look at it is everything in life or on the ball field is control. And if you're able to control yourself, your personality, then you can reflect that on the ball field. And so that's what I try to show. I've worked hard on the control, more so than the speed or anything else. And that's why I guess I'm so successful with the fadeaway, which is the opposite break curve that
They call it a slider these days.
More or less a screwball, I think, I've heard it referred to. But it breaks the opposite way, and I knew that when I first saw it, a fellow named Williams, who I played with at Honesdale, threw it, and it was an odd pitch. It broke the wrong way. I knew that if I could control that pitch, as well as my other pitches, and be able to throw strikes whenever I wanted to, that I would be successful in the big league.
There's a young pitcher in Boston. They call him the Babe. What do you think of what you've seen of the Babe, this young left-hander?
Well, as you know, Roy, I rarely get to see American League players except during the postseason. But several of the people that I play with have likened his fastball to Walter Johnson's, and I trust their opinions quite well.
But what about his body? Not a great body.
No, he's a big kid. From what I understand, he likes to eat, and he is a little bit rowdy. More so than I like to portray myself as. But if the kid can play, the kid can play. And, you know, Rube Waddell was quite odd himself. But if you can throw the ball, then you can ask for different things and maybe eat an extra hot dog.
Let's talk about some of your other colleagues. Start with your manager, a man who respects you a great deal. In fact, I think he offered a boarding room next to you. John McGraw, your manager, almost treated you like an equal, not like a player.
It was quite an odd situation from today's standpoint. We were best friends, and we actually did live together in an apartment building, shared a whole floor in a New York apartment, because our wives were such good friends. They got to know each other during my first spring training in Savannah with my wife on my honeymoon. I had gotten deathly ill on the boat trip. Going down.
Well, you never liked boats anyway. You hated water.
Well, that's why people ask me why I don't travel around the world, and the reason is that the sea is for fish as far as I'm concerned. I get terrible motion sickness, and so I try to stay off the boats. But the wives became very good friends, and as a result, well, Mac and I were close to begin with because we think alike. Although our personalities are so different, perhaps that's why we get along so well.
That's Mac, John McGraw, but Connie Mac, people don't realize, was almost your boss too, almost your employee. Didn't he actually sign you?
Yes, he did. In fact, My first summer up in the big league, the season of 1900, I did not have a very good showing. I pitched very sporadically, could not find the plate. I had no control that first year, and so I was sent back to Norfolk of the Virginia League because our owner at the time, Andy Friedman, who is similar to New York owners of today, he didn't want to pay the $2,000 to keep me up with the club. So I thought, I was just a young kid, I didn't know any better, I thought that I was finished as far as the Giants were concerned, and Connie Mack had seen me play and came up to me and asked me if I wanted to play for his athletics in the American League. And even though it was a new league and wasn't established as a big league yet, in my mind as a kid, as a youngster, it was the big league, so he gave me $50 to seal the bargain.
$50 bonus?
$50 is a lot of money.
But you turned it, you gave it back.
I gave it back because Mr. Friedman told me that I had not acted in the best interest of my contract with the New York Giants, and I didn't know any better, so I did not wish to go against the team that had given me my first shot in the big league, so I gave the money back, yes.
Matty, we have only seconds left, unfortunately. This is a rare interview with Christy Mathewson. If you could sum up your whole being as an athlete, your persona as a god, and your credo as a person, what would it be?
Control first. I would say that everything that I wish to portray on the field, I've been told that I have been given up to school kids by teachers as an example that they can look up to and emulate. And that perhaps is the proudest thing that I am of in my career. If I can touch one life in a positive manner, whether it's by the press publishing a story as me as a god, which is not true, if I can touch any life in a positive manner, then I have succeeded in my own.
Eddie Frierson is Christy Mathewson. Eddie, it was a pleasure talking to you as Christy Mathewson. By the way, we'll be debuting the show in Bucknell University, where Christy Mathewson hailed from, and that will be coming up in the coming weeks in June. It was awfully interesting talking to Christy. Got chills a little bit talking to Christy, and I love the uniform. Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks. My sister will like that.